Hello, ho-me's. That is ho-me's. Welcome to today's video. Today's video, we're going to be talking about psychosis and schizophrenia. We're going to be going in depth on what that looks like, how to tell the signs if your friend is going through that, what substances to avoid, and why it's caused. At least for me. I have psychosis. I don't have schizophrenia, but I oftentimes blend them together because they are very similar. So let's get into it. What can you expect? What is psychosis? Psychosis is a mental health disorder that is basically you hear voices and could see hallucinations of like a quote unquote ghost. Particular audio hallucinations would be hearing other people talk. So you'll be watching a YouTube video and it feels like you're having a conversation with them. I'll share my own experiences here later in the video. And schizophrenia is that, but tenfold. Schizophrenia is basically psychosis on crack, and you're born with it. It isn't caused by drugs. You're just given it. It's a quote unquote God given gift if that's your sort of thing. Not for me though. It's a mental illness for sure. But so my experience with psychosis, I wanted to talk about today on particularly artists that I've listened to, dead artists that I've listened to, dead YouTubers, and YouTubers in general. So I watch a lot of YouTube. I listen to a lot of music, and it's hard for me to focus without my medicine. I take Abilify 400 milligrams every month through injection, and that keeps me stable enough to where I can still hear the voices, but they're not nearly as loud, and they're more calm. They're a lot more calm than they used to be. So, getting into it, my first ever time having this happen was Lil Wayne. I was at my homie Cam's house wherever the fuck he is right now. I don't know where he's at. Well, I know where he's at, but I don't want to DDoS him. But we'll just say 228, which is an apartment I lived in. Yeah, we were at 228, sure. And I was watching a Lil Wayne interview. Excuse me. And everybody was laughing. And I was like, why is everybody laughing? And they're like, we're laughing at you, bro. And I was like, what the fuck? That's not right. I'm hearing Lil Wayne talk. And I'm like, okay, this is really sus. I don't know if I fuck with that. And so I started talking to him. I'm like, hey, I'm an artist from Tucson, Arizona. And he's like, I don't give a fuck about any of that. I was like, damn, okay. That's crazy. Like, it genuinely was him. Your brain works in so many wild ways that it can convince itself that it's talking to that person. Take their mannerisms, the way they talk, the way they act and interact with others, and then have a mental conversation with them. Like, personify that person in your head and then create them and make them solidified to you. So, next was Juice WRLD. This was after his passing. Rest in peace, Juice WRLD, Jared Higgins. I watched his documentary, and when I watched his documentary, I was able to talk to him, and he's like, "Oh, is that Jake?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's Jake. What's up?" And he's like, "Oh, what's good with you?" I was like, "Not much. I'm just I'm chilling on the bed." And he's like, "Oh, nice." And we had a conversation about life. I would go further into it, but I don't want to trigger any stands here. I don't want to trigger anybody who's like schizophrenic or doesn't believe me. If you don't believe me, you can look up psychosis. Often symptoms is that you hear people on TV talking to you or saying they have a special message for you. I shit you not. It's a major symptom of psychosis. So if this happens to you, you need to be well aware and get it settled in. You need to go to a doctor immediately. Then who was it? Then it just kind of became everybody. I remember my first YouTuber was Markiplier. I would watch Markiplier videos, and when I was watching him, he started talking to me. He's like, "Whoa, who is that?" I was like, "It's Jake. How are you?" And he'd freak out and be like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, don't worry, it's normal." And he'd be like, "Okay." And then I had hyperfixation. I had a hyperfixation. That's another thing with schizophrenia slash what's it called? It left my brain. Hold on. Psychosis. That's another symptom of psychosis is hyperfixation on one thing when you have these mental conversations with somebody. Already enough, it's triggering to know you have a mental conversation with somebody. But anyway, Markiplier was the most chill. I would talk to him about my life. He would talk to me about his, where he was born, what Korean food's like. It basically felt like I was talking to Markiplier, like in person. And he's pretty chill. Uh, Definitely one of the most chill people I've ever talked to in that manner. Another one's FaZe Jev. FaZe Jev's one of my favorite YouTubers. I would talk to him mentally, and he would say, "Oh, hey Jake," like it was a casual thing, Like that's just what he says now. Every time that I show up, it's like mentally they can recognize that it's me, or my brain automatically like clicks in and is like, okay, time to talk to this person, even though I'm not actually talking to them. It's crazy. It feels like a gift, but it's not. You're just going crazy. It feels like a gift. Schizophrenia is completely different. Schizophrenia, you see objects, you see things moving, you see people that aren't there. Uh, Psychosis, you can have minor visions, so like you'll see ghosts, quote unquote, see ghosts. A lot of people consider it a gift to see a ghost, but it's really not. Like, I remember one time I was walking down the freeway on Broadway here in Tucson, Arizona, and there's like a little bridge that has a canal under it. And I decided, fuck it, I'm gonna go through the canal rather than walk on the bridge. And when I went through the canal, there was two ghosts of wolves. This is when I was off my medication. There was two ghosts of wolves, and they were leading me in a direction, so I decided to follow them. And when I followed them, I heard a hiss from a rattlesnake, and I was like, fuck that, get me out of here. And so I raced back up onto the trail and went home. But I remember that vividly. I remember following those ghosts, and they led me into a pit of rattlesnakes, and I was like, fuck that shit, I ain't going there. uh, I ain't trying to die today. uh, it can get really depressing, hearing your favorite artists who have died and trying to tell them over and over again, convince them, because you're talking to them in the moment. At least that's what I believe personally as somebody with psychosis. You're talking to them in that very moment. And particularly with Juice WRLD, it's heartbreaking because I tried telling him multiple times, dude, you're going to die. You're going to die in 2019, December. Okay? Like, you need to stop taking drugs. And he's like, nah, bro, there's nothing wrong with the drugs that I'm taking. And then sometimes he'd say, shit, I know. And it's just depressing, man, like hearing those artists say that, because they don't give a fuck anymore. Like, they have everything in their hands and they have so much anxiety that they take these drugs to deal with it. And it's just, I don't know, it's depressing. Anyway, psychosis is pretty cool. Definitely get it treated if you have it or you're seeing signs of it. Psychosis can be caused by weed. It can be caused randomly from stress. It can be caused from psychedelic use, any kind of drug use. For me, I think it was the one fentanyl trip that I did, because that's when my dreams got really vivid and that's when I started hearing things. That was a while ago. It just progressed over time and I wasn't paying attention to it until 2022. But yeah, that's the video, y'all. Thank you for watching Ho Mees. That is Ho Mees. Have a great rest of your day, afternoon, or night. Okay? Take care of yourselves, love yourself, and 再见.